Hello and alright, thanks a lot Myron for that great introduction. My name is Dooms and I'll be casting for the Hearthstone WESG semi-finals between Pork My Pig and also Exonator. So here we are about to get into the match where Exonator and Pork My Pig will go against each other. True fact, they're actually from part of the same team they are, which is the MA Gaming. And of course, I would like to thank our sponsors, which is Logitech and also Coca-Cola. Great sponsors by them to actually help gamers and also esports in this great event. So so Hearthstone, everybody knows Hearthstone what it is. It's already been about 2 to 3 years already since Hearthstone came out, and throughout all the expansions, there's many great decks. For example, like Secret Paladin, there's Pirate Warrior, and now we do have the Jade Druids and so far so forth, Highlander Priest, which of course this expansion has made great tremendous effort in bringing out like classes from before into great lengths. So now we're gonna check it out. Yep, anyway, so we are still waiting for the acceptance of the match between Exonator and Pork My Pig. So looking at the classes that we have 9 classes of all, and most of them are really diverse. We're gonna have like Druids, Mage, Warlock, Priest, and also fascinating, there's going to be 2 Paladins for this semifinals and grand finals. Yep, and we are going into the match between Exonator versus Pork My Pig. This is game 1 of the semifinals 1. Nope. Apparently we already been underway.
This funnel cake.
Right, so looking at it, Mage just fireball the Priest of the Feast. Ensure that Priest doesn't get any heals from all the spells. Cobalt comes in, making sure that it contests the board. Whereas now Mage trying to kill the Cobalt, making sure that there's any buffs to other minions. In fact, now Exonator now having a little bit of this decision to make, and decided to actually bring down the Cobalt Skillbane to actually put on pressure. And now Lightning Fast with the Primordial Glyph from Pork My Pig. Making sure that using the Flame Geyser from the 3 cards that he has, ensuring that the Scalebane actually gets eliminated from the board. Now, this is going to be a really difficult situation for Priest right now, because right now he needs to build like a really big board at the moment. If not, he's going to get like really trouble against a Mage, and especially this is actually a Control Mage, to be in fact. Coming in with this Shadow Visions, there's only 3 cards, and it's looking really grim for Exonator. Well, Exonator decides card draw is really important, and decided to heal the little fella in order to make sure he's alive.
Blessings to you.
And a little bit of Torn from Exonator. So now Mage having a little bit of decision of like contesting a board, and decided to go for the card draw, making sure that he gets as much as minions as possible, or enough card draw in order to pull off the control battle between the priest and the Mage. Coming down with the Twilight Drake, contesting the board. And decided to go with the Divine Spirit on the Twilight Drake, making sure that Twilight Drake actually stays alive. Now this is going to be really difficult for the Mage, in fact. Because at the moment, not seem to be much... Oh. Alright, decided to come down with the Frost Lich Jaina. Now this will actually, every time it kills a minion with its hero power, you actually generate a water elemental. Now this water elemental is actually really important because when it's generated, it gives actually 3 health whenever it attacks. So this will give Jaina a more board control compared to the priest. So looking now at the cards right now, priest, looking at it, seems like the very best option here. Well, you can't actually do much with it. So most likely, probably best to actually get a card draw of it. But nope, decided to kill the water elemental using the Dragonfire potion. So now the Drake, Twilight Drake, is actually in full health.
By my frozen heart.
Up comes a really important card for Jaina, but decides to go with Polymorph, Hero Power, getting a Water Elemental, and also the Arcanologist getting another card, a secret card. Now,
is someone injured?
This is look really grim for Exonator because he has nothing to actually contest the board, having only the Northshire Cleric and also Kalan Talon Priest. It's not going to do much damage in this. And with a great opportunity from Pork My Pig to actually pull down the Alexstrasza, making it really difficult for Exonator to get. Yep, healing up, getting the next card. Well, you gotta contest the board in some way. So definitely the Draconid Operative is coming down on the board. Is this close? Yep, and that's either right there. With the Fireball, Frostball, and also Hero Power. Pork My Pig gets game 1 of the match. So now Pork My Pig is actually 1-0 up against Exonator. And I get a quiz! How about that? So coming in 1-0, Mage versus Priest. Mage gets the upper hand due to the amazing board presence. And of course, Priest not having much removal to deal the board. Slowly, and in the end, demise to its death. As now they take a break for a second match, game 2 of Exonator versus Pork My Pig. So, looking at the deck list right now, looking at all the decks that you have, Pork My Pig getting a huge lead with the Elemental Mage against the Dragon Priest. So now, looking at his situation, since Exonator is down by 1 game, he needs to find out a little bit good strategy to actually overcome the other 2 decks. Knowing that they actually play well hand in hand with the as a battling partner. Safe to say now, they're actually trying to figure out which deck will actually go against each other. And this time, we're going to have the Dragon Priest against the Jade Druid. Now, thinking about it, Exonator now knows that he's actually fighting a Jade Druid. He needs to figure out how to actually try to get an early board presence so that make sure that the Jade Druid doesn't ramp up too fast and get all the Jade Golems coming out one by one, increasing in value, and overwhelming in terms of minions against the Priest, because Priest only has a few options to actually kill off the Jades. So looking at it, both are actually having a great hand at the fact. Where Pork My Pig, being the first player, coming down with the Jade Golem. And think about it, Exonator is now trying to figure out like, I'm just gonna pass for this. And especially for round turn 2. Turn 2, Druid will definitely go with the Wild Growth, making sure that at turn 3 he gets 4 mana. Now, a good thing about Jade Druids is that they have some like really good cards that actually ramp up, making sure that they have quite a number of mana to actually pull off a lot in Jades. So coming down with the dragons, apparently with the 3 dragons, Exonator unfortunately has to go with something that's really fast-paced, because it's ensuring that Jade doesn't get too comfortable with a bunch of Jades that are coming out. So now comes this decision where in turn 4, Druid is actually having a little bit of tough time. And there comes the removal with Swipe, dealing 4 damage and 1 adjacent to it. That way you'll clear the board, making sure that actually everything is having a clean slate. Now, Exonator now doesn't have any much doing at turn 4, because most of it is just pretty high mana. And Pork My Pig decided to come back with the Jade Druids, making a 2-3 and a 2-2 Jade to contest the board. Now this is going to be really difficult for Exonator, because he recently just came out a dragon. And right now having a situation where the Glocka Crawler comes out, because technically Priest doesn't run pirates, let's face it. Priests are nice guys. Pirates are just a bunch of jerks. So back in the situation where, what is the good option for this? Does he want to contest the board, or does he want to leave it, try to be greedy enough to actually get something out of it? But looking at this, it looks really difficult decision for Exonator. Because it's still early in the game. It's very early in the game.
What is it?
And he decided to go down with the Draconic Operator, even though it will create great value for Dragon. So in turn, the Druid will come out with Nourish, try to refresh as many card draws as he can, and decided to go face. Because no point actually trading with the Draconid. So now here's going to be a problem. Exonator now has a decision to actually go with either getting the Draconid more health, but Dragonfire Potion comes down, clears the board, making sure that the Draconid is actually present.
Engaging TC-130 into Dislocator.
So now in this situation, knowing the fact that Priest has no chance in actually getting board presence after that, Pork My Pig decided to actually fill up the board with more Jades and also Mind Tech Control. Not really too sure, especially when you fight against the aggro. Mind Control Tech is actually really important, because 4 or more minions, you're actually able to snatch one of it from your opponent. But in this case, since Priest doesn't have much minions on board, so board presence is really important. Able to go down, especially when the Dragonfire Potion came down.
You wish to live forever.
Interesting play from Exonator. Killing off with the Shadow of Death, making sure that using the Inner Fire appropriately, not to its minions but it's also to opponents as well. This type of play you don't actually see it much on, because normally people go with the combo, but this time he used it to his advantage, making sure that. Alright, comes down with the ultimate infestation and able to sacrifice with the Jade, having a 5/5 on board. This actually lets Exonator looking for some options to actually counter this, because when you're talking about like tons of cards from Jade Druids, it's going to be hellish. So popping out with the Lyra with the Powered Shield, making sure that he's trying to get as much potential it is, and by look of it, he's going to go with the Forbidden Shaping as well. You're trying to find extra minions on board. But that's the thing, would you rather actually keep the Forbidden Shaping? So this is actually really bad because Lyra is actually down right now. And comes out the Jade Blossom, double Jade Blossom, making it a 4/4 and a 5/5 Jade. This is actually really difficult for Exonator now. Exonator needs to find something to actually clear the board, because as much as he by the looks of it, his minions are not powerful enough to actually kill the board. So the thing is, either he actually like try to fish out more of his removal, or he actually can find out better ways to actually control this. And with the Mind Vision, trying to find out what it is to actually, what kind of great cards actually to get from Pork My Pig. So decides to trade off with the Spellbreaker and also the Ghoul. So Pork My Pig now is looking at a 7/7 Medivh, looking at the 1/3 Priest card. So whether he wants to go for a trade, or does he want to like build more board presence, and he decided to counter-attack with a Medivh, killing off using the Wrath and one of his golems. And look what we have here, folks, is Nat Fisher, giving one extra card to Exonator. Now this is going to be really, he has like a lot of potential in this. Because right now he has his staff to actually create more minions, and he's looking down at 3 of the opponent's minions, and decided like, you know what? Let's create one. Let's get the Deathwing out of it. Does he get the Deathwing? Does he get the Yogg? He gets Y'Sraj. Wow, Y'Sraj coming in, but didn't quite get the minion that you wanted. So right now, how are we gonna deal with this? The Y'Sraj on board. So he's trying to like figure out how to actually deal with this, because right now this is getting really bad. So Mark of the Lotus comes in, buffing up all these minions. And thinking about whether to trade, nope, he goes face. And another Jade coming out, having 7 health with Priest. Oh my god! That is just... whoa! So look at this, this is going to be really difficult. Now, does he have any way of actually... Yep. Dealing much damage as much as possible so that he's actually in range. And he decides to come down Deathwing, killing off every minion from Pork My Pig. Ultimate Infestation coming in. making it 12 health, 17 health with 5 armor against a 2 health priest. Can he actually? Does he have the death priest? Oh wow! Nothing looks like he's gonna have a divine spirit, trying to get the torn out of it. But so far, no way of getting any torn from the divine spirit. And this is actually, even if he trades, it doesn't really add up. So just to throw, he's asking whether there's any dragons, and nope, there's no dragons at all. He decides to heal Deathwing and ends the turn. So in this case, this is lethal right here. Killing off, Exonator goes down 0-2 to Pork My Pig in the second match. Game 2 of the semi-finals. Now, this is going to be really, really tough for Exonator right now because he only left, like, he needs to know what other decks that Pork My Pig has now, because Pork My Pig using Druid, using Mage now has Warlock and Priest. So Exonator knows which that he actually banned, and he is finding a way to, like, is there any deck that actually go against his final deck. So this is the best of 5, and he's down 0-2. Can he go with the reverse sweep on this? We'll have to find out in the next Game 3 of the semifinals. So, coming down on Game 3, we have Exonator having the Tempo Rogue against Pork My Pig. Pork My Pig also having a really interesting priest right there. He's not using any meta deck priest. He's actually using a... Oh, there you go. So, here's the thing about Tempo Rogue. Tempo Rogue, usually you want to fish out for the most important card in the deck that actually helps you in a lot of ways. So Exonator now passing on turn 1. If he has a coin, he would have done something at turn 1. However, right now at turn 2, coming down with Prince Kalasiv, shadow stepping it, and playing another Prince Kalasiv, making sure that both his deck is having double buffs from it. And this looks really, really good for Exonator. So Exonator, Pork My Pig right now using Shadow Visions, trying to find out is there any way to actually deal with a lot of big minions, probably like board clears and stuff like that. But no, comes down, Subsleeve Captain comes out, making it a 4-4 patches. So Priest now counteracting with the Goraka-Crawler. Goraka-Crawler actually is a really good card. It actually kills off a pirate, destroying it and gains a 1-1. And this looks really, really good for Exonator because Exonator now can actually like build more board, gain more attack, fills up the board, gaining more board presence. So decided to go with the dagger, killing off the Goraka-Crawler. And now he's thinking whether is it worth it to actually like continue on pressuring or just like saving it for something else. Because the thing is that like it's already been buffed twice. And Priest has like really like hard time against these kind of things. So Twilight Drake actually comes down, coming in at with a health total of 8. Really gives a really good big minion to actually like and Exonator now trying to figure out like how to deal with this Twilight Drake. Should I like deal with this or should I just like go face? Because by the looks of it, he doesn't have like much of an option to actually go forth. So the only thing right now he can do is actually like try to get as much as possible, but then he's looking at it thinking what could possibly go wrong turn 5 of Priest during the Priest's turn. So decided to come down with the Acolyte of Agony and try to dagger up, making sure that he has 2 durability on his weapon. So now Pork My Pig actually looking at it, thinking that now he has the Twilight Drake on
Is
board.
someone injured?
He decides to go with the Northshire Cleric, gaining a card draw, because let's be honest, card draw, trying to get as much as possible, using the Potion of Madness, getting as much of a board control so that Exonator doesn't fill up the board too much. So looking at it right now, you have the Northshire Cleric that actually can actually do much, as in, like, you know, card draw in the fact. Great use of the Vinespine Slayer, making sure that the Twilight Drake doesn't get too much of a tempo nor too much card draw from this Northshire Cleric, which he would definitely kill. So having a 3-1 on board that has lifesteal. Now there's the fact that having lifesteal more important than a charge minion, because the charge minion only has a 2-1 stats compared to a 3-1 with lifesteal. So Priest, on the other hand, needs to find out how to get in a situation where he kills the Vinespine Slayer, because being buffed twice is actually putting the health up to 6, which of course there's not much Priest can actually do against, other than, of course, coming down with the Shadow Word Death against a 5/6 minion. Oh, and the Nightmare coming in. This is going to be really, really difficult for... He just wasted a Shadow Word Death against a Vinespine Slayer. So right now, Exonator has a great opportunity actually to go for... buffing the Acolyte of Agony to 7/5. So then now the thing is, does he want to actually trade off? Does he want to, like, put more pressure, making sure that the Priest is low in health? But by the looks of it, he doesn't have a lot of situation. And Bowman has actually been buffed twice as well, so it's a 7/7. So Dragonfire Potion will be used at this point, killing off both the Acolyte of Agony and also yep. So the Lich King will be down. Even though he gives a card, it doesn't do much. Oh, and a top deck. Top deck from Priest allows some potential in this. However, by the looks of it, it doesn't... he can actually use the... but decides to use the Inner Fire on the Northshire Cleric to actually clear off the Bone Mare, making sure that it doesn't, like, get sat back to the hand and being played again, because having a Bone Mare using with the Shadow Step is actually making a turn 5/5 with a +4/+4 advantage. So right now, having little opportunity from Exonator, Exonator decided to actually deal damage and decided to go Shadow Step SI Agent to deal lethal damage, making sure that he gets a 1-2, get a consolation, but I don't think so he wants to get the consolation. He wants to win this semi-final match. So Exonator now wins Game 3 of the Hearthstone semifinals. And that was actually a really good play. Actually, like, not actually using the Shadow Step on the Calisif, but having the potential, because, like, Shadow Step actually has a lot of potential in getting, like, other minions to do deal a lot of its combo, because rogues are mainly based on combo, and like Vine Spin Sayer actually destroys the minion, SI Agent deals 2 damage, and of course the Bone Mare giving a buff. So this gives a lot of option, and also Shadow Step actually gives 2 less mana requirement for Rogue. And now since Rogue is actually done, so we are going to game 4 again with Exonator versus Pork My Pig in this game 4 semifinals match. So again, it's going to be the Warrior against Priest. This is a Pirate Warrior. Now, Pirate Warrior against Priest. Now, this is going to be really, really difficult. We know that the Priest actually has some, what do you call it? Some of the removals to against Pirates. So, Exonator now having a little bit of option. So Pork My Pig decided, like, you know what, I definitely need to have a board presence with this, so I'm just going to use Radiant Elemental to actually contest the board. But with the South Sea Captain, Patches get buffed by 1-1, killing off the Radiant Elemental. But the Golakka Crawler comes out, making sure that no pirates, none, should be on board with it. So this is actually a really interesting play from Exonator, because knowing that having a 2 attack isn't going to kill off the Golakka Crawler, so he decides to hit with the weapon in order to make sure that the actually gains at least 1 attack. So here comes South Sea Deckhand with the Bloodsail Cultist getting a buff with the weapon. So this will lead up to 6 damage for the Berserker, able to actually trade in against the Golakka Crawler, and now making sure that the Floating Berserker now decided not to trade. That's actually really, really interesting, because so not trading is actually a really, really good point, because as a Pirate Warrior, usually you want to suppress as much as possible so that you can actually come out with a great advantage with your next card. And healing the Golakka Crawler up to 7 health with the Inner Fire. So building with the board with the Berserker and also Bloodsail Raider, I'm not too sure why he would actually choose this. I think it's because 2 minions is definitely better than 1, and especially having 1 minion to go against is actually much difficult. So coming in at 9 health, he has to be really, really careful, because he's actually really low in health and he needs to know how to get back on board. Decided to trade off using the Kor'kon Elite. And also arming up, gaining as much potential, as much health as possible to go with this. So this is actually really, really difficult for Exonator. Exonator needs to find out like how he has other card to actually to deal with this. And this is going to be interesting for Priest, because Priest just got a card from Warrior, and Exonator now doesn't have any option, because he just draws something that's really, really difficult for him to actually like get back to the game, and decided to go with the Bittertide Hydra. So now he's thinking like, should I actually want to deal as much damage, want to kill off the 1-3 minion, or decide to kill off the Draconith operator, because having a 5-6 on board is actually really, really bad, especially having a Bittertide Hydra that deals 3 damage to yourself when he gets damage. So now he's thinking whether right now does he like have any option right now to actually get back into the game. Does he trade? Does he go face? He decided to armor up instead, making sure that he has enough health and trade off having the Draconid Operative on board. And this is top deck's actually a Shadow Vision to a Shadow of Death. So now the Bideta Hydra is actually gone, and Tar Creeper coming down. And this is actually really, really grim for Exonator right now. Exonator doesn't have really much an option but to use the Zol First Mate and the Heroic Strike to actually kill off the Tar Keeper. And with that, Pork My Pig actually has enough damage with the Fiery War Axe to deal lethal. Does he want to? Oh, he wants to troll. Meme it out with the Dragonfire Potion and also the Fiery War Axe from the Draconid Operator to get a 3-1 against Exonator. So that's actually a really, really good play from Pork My Pig right there. Able to know what kind of decks that Exonator actually have and how to actually go with it, because they've been like friends for a long time and they've been playing each of decks, so more or less they know what it is to actually go against it. And 3-1, Exonator getting eliminated from semifinals, and now Pork My Pig is going to the grand finals. So next match, next semifinal, we're going to be having Gilgamesh against Akira for the semifinal 2. So stay tuned. We'll be back shortly with the semifinals. So don't go away. Alright, welcome back to the second semi-finals of the Hearthstone WESG Malaysia qualifiers. This is Dooms again, by the way, casting for the Hearthstone series. First of all, we're gonna have Gilgamesh against Akira, and let's go through with the fact that Gilgamesh actually had to go with Chang'e, one of the best Malaysian Hearthstone player, and was able to defeat him, making sure a placement in the semi-finals. Whereas for Akira, on the other hand, actually beaten Lala Song. And now this semi-final match is going to be really, really interesting because Gilgamesh will be able to help avenge Lala Song in this semi-finals against Akira. Now, in terms of deck-wise, looking at it, I'm seeing that there's actually a much similar decks that they have, especially like both of them actually run rogues, they both run Ram Druids, they also run the Warlock. But the thing is that the little bit difference is that Gilgamesh is actually using a Zulok compared to Akira having a Demon Handlock. So this is going to be a really, really interesting match. Both also having much potential in getting grand finals against Pork My Pig in the grand finals. So let's see how it goes with Akira and also Gilgamesh. Now, here's a little bit difference because they both have, all of them have 4 decks. So the thing about the 4 decks is that each of them have a specific class that they choose to be in their 4th deck. For Gilgamesh, he's actually going with the Highlander Priest, whereas for Akira is going for the Evolved Shaman. Now, both also having really, really good in terms of matches, especially in the meta. But then for Evolved Shaman, since a lot of people has been like facing it before, it might be a little bit difficult for Akira. But somehow with Akira's deck list, it all depends on RNG. It all depends on whether Evolve or Death Knight Shaman able to give that much potential in terms of RNG. So he needs to pray to RNG Jesus in order to go with this. So right now we are still waiting for the matchup. So let's go through with the meta right now, because like they are both having Tempo Rogue, because Tempo Rogue right now is the most efficient way. They used to have the Death Knight Rogue. However, now that is actually switched to the Lich King, because at 9 mana it's actually really, really difficult because there's no minions to contest on board, and even though you have that extra capability of getting gain a card from when you play it, it doesn't seem to impact much compared to Lich King. The Lich King, on the other hand, gives you a Death Knight card, which is like you can get Frostmourne out of it, you can get Death Grip, you can just like Death Pack. So it gives you a more situation. It depends on RNG though. Sometimes it could give you Arthas for some reason, but it gives you a much clearer capability of what you're actually going to, and see whether like you can actually use Death Core to actually heal your minions or deal damage. So the Lich King is actually really, really important compared to the Death Knight Rogue. On the other hand, like Ram Druids, they both are going to run Ram Druids. One is actually using a Jade Druid. Both are actually using a Ram style Druid, which of course like have Ultimate Infestation, having Kun, having like really, really big minions to actually kill board instead of Jade Druids. Now Jade Druids on the other hand is actually really, really slow, especially like you need to keep on coming out with Jade Golems, make sure that you're on curve, like turn 1, turn 2, keep on generating that minions instead of having a turn 4 Jade Spirit getting a 1/1 golem. So that's not how you want to have in your Jade Druids. So they know that like trying to fish out for the Jade Golems in the first few cards, trying to mulligan it, it's actually really, really difficult. And so they decided to like go for Ram Druid, try to fish out for Wild Growth, try to fish out for something that enables them to actually increase in mana cost. Increase in mana gain, and eventually like dish out a lot of big minions to actually contest on board, and of course pressure the opponent into counteracting with their removals. So on the other hand, Gilgamesh is actually going for a Zulok as a normal mana deck right now, is having the Prince Kalasif, because Prince Kalasif is actually really, really good, and so far there's like Tempo Rogue and also Zulok using Prince Kalasif, because they don't use much 2 mana, even though like Rogue has the Eviscerate, but since Eviscerate is really situational, so that's why they have to come up with the So we're gonna have a little bit of technical difficulties because Akira, apparently I actually accidentally declined his invitation. So hoping Akira can actually send out another invitation again. So here we are trying to get so both of them looking calm right now, trying to go through the decks, making sure that everything's in order, trying to figure out like which deck to go against, because having a mirror mirror match is going to be really, really difficult. So making sure that they actually knows each other player's decks and trying to counter that with Great Mulligan and of course have their RNG. So basically it's all about Mulligan stages and also like try to get cards on curve, especially with the Tempo Rogue and also the Ramdruid, because Ramdruid you definitely need to have Wild Growth in your starting hand. So we are almost getting into the match between Akira versus Gilgamesh in the semifinals 2, and see who will actually go to the grand finals along with Pork My Pig and gain that juicy first place of 2,000 ringgit. So here's the thing, like three of the decks are going to be really similar class. Of course, there's going to be two that's not going to be mirrored. It depends on which of them are actually like trying to go for who will be on top, because they know that this is actually crucial. This is actually the game-winning decision. Having a great win over game 1 is actually really important. So right now Akira is actually going with the Rogue against Gilgamesh's Priest, and right off the bat Tempo Rogue against Highlander Priest. So looking right now, they are actually like it's going to be really thoughtful, because like Rogue against Priest, this is actually a really tough match, because Highlander Priest on the other hand, their deck, each of them has only one specific card. So he needs to make sure that he's actually really knows how to look at it. And sadly for Akira on the other hand, he didn't able to fish out the Prince Calicive. So at turn one, there's nothing on board. All he has to do right now is to try to figure out like how to actually gain tempo, and especially right now with turn 2, there's nothing much he can actually do but to dagger up, allowing the Gilgamesh to actually go with the turn 2. Now turn 2 on the other hand for Gilgamesh is actually really interesting. As a Highlander Priest, he's actually having really good cards at the moment, especially on turn 5. So we're going to see how he's going to play with, and he's going to play with Radiant Elemental, and this will actually give much accessibility in these spells, because Radiant Elemental gives less 1 mana cost for each spell card. So this time is like how to actually go against the Radiant Elemental, and Akira answers it with the Shaku, of course. Now Shaku having stealth mechanic is actually really important, because whenever he attacks, he gains a card, an opponent's class card. Now this class card can actually be really important or really bad for him. So it really depends. And Priest on the other hand has a lot of potential cards, especially with the Potion of Madness, with but also sometimes it gets really difficult situation when you have not much of potential. For example, like Embrace the Shadows. This is the one card you don't want to get from Priest. So looking at it right now, Gilgamesh on the other hand at turn 3 has to figure out like what it takes for the Radiant Elemental to be stable on board, because at the moment looking at it, he has a key card in his hand, but however it's not looking too well. So all he has to do right now is actually using Northshire Cleric to actually try to gain as much tempo as possible compared to the tempo rogue. So knowing that the Northshire Cleric is actually on board, now this is actually crucial because looking at it, there's not much he can actually do, especially without the Prince Calasir. If the patches coming out, if let's say a pirate is being played, will be actually a 1-1. But in this situation, I think most likely he's going to do a more aggressive play, making sure that both the Radiant Elemental and Northshire Cleric will be both eliminated from the board. So he's going to try attack using Shaku, try to see what kind of... and yep, that seems to be a really important card somehow. So here comes the SI agent, probably coming in to kill off... Yep, definitely going to kill off the Northshire Cleric. So he's going to sacrifice both the pirates into the Radiant Elemental. So he only gets 1 damage from the Northshire Cleric. So this is actually a really good play from Akira right here. So here's the thing right now for Gilgamesh. Does Gilgamesh want to... Yep, he decided to like... You know what, Shaku is actually having a lot of good potential if he gets more priest cards. So he decides to kill off using the Shadow of Pain and heal himself. So Akira, on the other hand, since the priest doesn't have anything to gain in terms of board presence, he's able to actually go down with probably something that's on mana curve, which is the Cobalt Scalebane, and this will actually buff up the SI agent to 6 mana, 6 health, 6 attack. Now priest, on the other hand, this is going to be crucial. So he's coming down with Raza the Chain, making sure that he gets every turn 0 mana, 2 health from his hero power. So here's the thing, Akira on the other hand has a really good spot. He has a lot of cards, a lot of potential in actually like trying to pressure the priest as much as possible, because if there is no removal for him, he's able to like continuously pressurize the board, making sure that the priest doesn't have any way of dealing with all the minions. And he decided to go with trade using the SI agent. And the Scalebane on the other hand will actually buff the Kain Bloodhoof. So just now, top deck Kazakus going with the 5 mana. He's actually looking for a situation where what is it possible to actually do with the Kain Bloodhoof, because the Death Rattle is actually really important. Death Rattle actually allows him to gain another Bloodhoof, and he doesn't want it. He probably wants it like either freeze to make sure, but freeze is actually a really bad thing. So something that actually can kill off the Bloodhoof, making sure that he has another play to actually follow up, killing the other Bloodhoof. So using the coin and killing off the Scalebane is actually really good right here. So that now he's having a 7/5 Kain to deal with. And on top of that, this is really bad. After the Shadow of Death, he has a lot of potential in actually like the immense pain. But the thing is that, does he want to create more on board before he comes out with something really big? Because that is really good of what he is able to accomplish. Because he can actually just play Kazakus. Kazakus doesn't help him much. He has a lot of duplicates in his deck. The Kazakus only able to help him if there's only singular cards in his deck. But he has all duplicates. So he's going to come down with the Bone Mare, having an 11/9, since like a high-end priest only has 1 specific card in the deck. There's no duplicates. So the only way for him to like try to deal this is either to like get it killed using a Shadow with Death. But since he used a Shadow with Death, there's actually not much capability of killing it. So right now he's thinking like, should I actually go for something really good? Because this is really important. This is actually will help him again, to able to like control the board, at least make it a 50-50, because right now Akira is actually having a good spot. But once both of them, if let's say the board is getting wiped out, it's going to be really, really difficult. And he decides to go see whether it goes. No! This is going really, really difficult for Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh hoping for a good RNG against a Crane. But this now he's having a really difficult situation. Now he has to use a Spirit Lash, gaining 1 extra health, which is not going to really help him because he still doesn't have any. He still doesn't have any. Yeah, he definitely doesn't have lethal at the moment. By the looks of it, he still needs to control board. He has something to actually help him with it. However, with the Karn not getting polymorphed by the Kazakus potion, this is going to be really, really bad for Gilgamesh. Now, can Gilgamesh actually go with something else? No! This looks like... If, for example, if he has Shadow Visions, that's actually a really, really good thing. He can actually try to get it, but he doesn't. He says goodbye. I'm down. Good game on the first match, and Temple Rogue gets it from the Highlander Priest. Now, this is a really difficult situation for Highlander Priest, especially when you have very limited removals, and when you're constantly relying on RNG, especially the Kazakus potion. He knows that he needs that polymorph. He knows that he needs to deal with the Kane Bloodhoof, but unfortunately RNG screwed him up, and he wasn't allowed to, and yet a 11 attack Kane Bloodhoof just rains down on him. It's like a really big pyroblast against his head, and that's it. That's Temple Rogue for you against Highlander Priest. Highlander Priest can actually deal as long as he gets like enough potential, especially like you want to gain as much cards as possible, get as much removals as you can, and then at the end of it, able to dish out using your machine gun Death Priest combo with the Prophet Velen. So now we're going on with the second match. We're going to have the Murloc Paladin against the Zulok. So right now, Akira on the other hand is going second and has a tremendous great card placement right here. Whereas for Gilgamesh on the other hand is starting off with fairly similar mulligan stage. But on the other hand, Akira on the other hand getting a 1 mana 2 mana minion is really, really good. Comes out with the Blessing of Kings. This is going to be really, really bad situation for Gilgamesh, because Gilgamesh on the other hand has to build as much board as possible before he can actually stabilize the board, because right now having the Grimscale buffing up, and does he want to go? No, he decided to enter in because he'll probably go with a turn 2 play with the coin instead of turn 1. So now Warlord on the other hand needs to find out like how in order to gain as much pressure as possible against the Murloc Paladin, because both of them are trying to gain as much board presence with a lot of minions, making sure that they are able to trade off, not to say equally, but more advantage to their situation. So especially for Murlocs right now, Murlocs having like a lot of potential in buffing each other, whereas for Zulok on the other hand having a, like for example the Dreadlord. The Dreadlord is actually really, really good, especially at the end of the turn, but it requires 5 mana. So like trying to get 5 mana with the a lot of minions on board just so that he can actually contest it earlier game is actually really, really good. So right now with the Arcus Veteran buffing up the Melchizedek, this is actually really, really good against Murloc Paladin. But then again, by the look of it, he has the coin. He can either actually like try to go with the board presence with the Valfin Inquisitor and the Rockpool Hunter, and that will actually make a Valfin Inquisitor a 3/5, which is actually really, really big stats for a 1 mana minion. being buffed twice. But the thing is, like, Coin Rallying Blade is actually really difficult. But that's the thing. Like, you want to build board presence as much as you want to kill off his minions, because Megazord's Imp is really good, especially in like discarding. As long as there's Soulfire in the hand, that Soulfire can actually not only like it's bad that it discards, but because of the Imp's advantage, they're able to give extra card draw. Is actually really card advantage for Gilgamesh. And yes, he decided to actually coin out the Rallying Blade, making sure that he doesn't get any card draw from the Megazord's Imp. So right now Gilgamesh has a potential right now to actually build more on board, but with the Rallying Blade, he gotta make sure that he needs to make sure that the blade doesn't like hit any more of his minions, because he actually needs to value more minions in order to go with better options. So this is interesting for turn 3 on the other hand. So Akira, looking at his hand right now, is going to go for the Valfin Inscrator and Rock Pool Hunter, and killing off with the Rallying Blade. So this is what's getting interesting for Akira. Akira having a very advantage card right now, and if Gilgamesh doesn't deal with that later, he's going to have a hard time doing it. So especially when one of the minions gets buffed by the Blessing of Kings.
I wonder.
So Gilgamesh, looking at his cards right now, thinking how to deal with this. Do I need to deal with the 3-5 or do I deal with the 2-3? 3-5 is really big right now. And so far, having a Sub-Sea Captain is actually really good, especially when you have the patches, 2-2 patches. However, on the other hand, you might want to go with the Darkshire Councilman, because Darkshire Councilman not only is a 1-5, but whenever a minion plays on board, he gains extra 1 damage. So, but Sub-Sea Captain comes in with the patches 2-2 coming out. Decides to kill off the rock pool. And okay, so now having another option, a contingency plan, whether he wants to actually like continue on pressuring, or does he want to like just like having a really but in this case, having 4 mana, it's best to actually like try to get as more options as possible, so that you can actually have a counteract the procedure with a spell, instead of having a use of it, like going using the mana curve. So having a 3-5, able to kill off the Sub-Sea Captain easily. But the thing is, whether do you want to like have it more, because so he decides to actually like control the board using the Rock Pool Hunter, buffing up the 1-1 into a 2-2. That way it's more average on stats. So here comes the Despicable Dreadlord coming here, killing off one of the Wolfen Inquisitor. And here comes... Wow, this is really good for Akira. Akira is gaining a lot of potential in this. It's like, what do I do? However, in this case right now, I think either minions are really bad. So yeah, compared to having previously using the Blessing of Kings on turn 4, I think this will be better, in fact, to actually have the Blessing of Kings now to deal with the Dreadlord, because without it, it's going to be really difficult. Or he can actually use Finja to be a little bit more greedy play, having the stealth on board, and next thing you know, having the Blessing of Kings later, so that it can actually deal and pull off more Murlocs. On the other hand, will give him a more card advantage to get his extra, like for example, the Tyrion, Sunkeeper Tarim. So does he want to go with the greedy play, or does he want to go with the safe play? He decides to go with the Blessing of Kings, killing off the Dreadlord. having a 2-1 and a 6-2 because he knows that at turn 6 he has a better chance in controlling the board. But little did he know, Gilgamesh has actually some answers for him. So he decides to. So this is interesting. He actually goes for the taunt instead of the deal damage because Murloc War Leader has already been nerfed. He used to have a buff health, but now having the War Leader nerfed to just damage. That's why he just say like, you know what, taunt is better. And this is actually a pretty interesting play. Sacrificing his minions, making sure that he has a 5-2 Murloc Tidecaller right there. But here comes Soulfire. This is actually a good combo here. Malchezaar's Imp, Soulfire into Doomguard. And here's the thing, like Soulfire didn't actually discard the Doomguard. If it discards the Doomguard, this is really, really bad for Gilgamesh. But right now, having a 5-4 Doomguard with Malchezaar's Imp, this is actually really, really interesting right now, as Akira must deal something against his Doomguard and also Malchezaar's Imp. Having the Gentle Megazord on the other hand is going to buff him, so he might go with the Hero Power Gentle Megazord, trying to get like probably the best option right now is go for. Oh, okay. Never mind. On the other hand, this is going to be really, really interesting. Tyrion, on the other hand, comes down and he decides to play Tyrion to actually make sure that he gets enough. You know, like, look at it right now. This might be a little bit good for Gilgamesh because right now Gilgamesh has a lot of capabilities, especially with Bone Mare right now. Having Bone Mare so far can actually kill off Tyrion, and also allows his minions to be you know, to stay alive. So the thing is, right now he's probably now having a 1-3 Void Walker is really bad, but he decides to go with the Bone Mare on the Imp, the Flame Imp, and decides to kill off the Void Walker. Now this is actually a really good play because with the Finja able to summon more minions whenever he kills off, especially with the Gentle Sword, as long as he gets like poison or attack, and the Finja is able to call forth more Murlocs, Gentle Megazord actually has more value. But he decides to kill off, making sure that having a 7-6 Flame Imp, and now down to 12 health. Will he want to use the Steed to actually gain more potential in surviving? Because right now it's really, really tough. Akira is having a mind-blowing decision now in how to solve this issue. Because right now he can't actually, if he were to sacrifice. So he decides to go strike with Steed, killing off, making sure that he has like other minions on board. He gets 2 taunts. One is Finja, the other one is the strike from the Steed itself. And hopefully in next round, Gentle Megazord can actually enables him to proceed forward with more potential, probably like more taunts right now. But in this case, you do not want to. Having on 5 health, this is going to be really, really tough for Akira. So Bowman is definitely going to come down on this. Or does he want to go with the Dreadlord to kill off some of the Murlocs on the other hand? Because without killing the Murloc, Gentle Megazord is going to be a big threat. So he has either 2 options. One is to actually like use Bone Mare to actually to deal off the Finja. I would say like having the Dreadlord is it would be better to have the Dreadlord. because not only if you kill the 1/1, you're also able to kill Finja, and killing 2 Murlocs instead of 1 will decrease the value for Megazord. But he decides to buff the Firefly with the Bone Marrow. This is going to be really interesting. So right now, he's going to just pass it. And oh dear, with the Hydrologist on board. So Akira has a really interesting play right now, because he can actually go for a lot of ways to actually deal with this. He can actually go with the poison, especially with the extra Murloc right here. Hero Power Murloc, Hydraulis, and also Gentle Megazord. Decides to buff up with the Zubot, ensuring that the because this is actually a beast. So for Zubot, he actually able to buff dragons, beasts, and also Murloc by 1/1. So will he actually go with the Gentle Megazord and also one of this thing? So he's going to pick Noble Sacrifice. Gentle Megazord coming in. And there it is. Attack, poison. Windfury is definitely not an option. He might go for the attack, but Poisonous will be a good option for this one, because he wants to clear off as much as possible. And he goes to the attack. So now, coming to a situation where he's having a lot of good ways. Oh. Never mind with the Ashbringer, because right now having pirate the Bloodsail Corsair, but he decided like, nope, there's no way I can deal with this, and he decides to pass. So Gilgamesh going down 2-0 in this matchup of the semifinals. A great interesting play for Akira right here. Feels bad for Gilgamesh right now, because Gilgamesh have a lot of potential in his Zulog. However, in this case, being outplayed by the Murlocs on early stage actually allows him to gain much control, and especially Gentle Sword. So here's the thing, like Gentle Sword was able to have more value effect and able to clear the board instead of having a Bone Marrow to actually taunt the Firefly. So going on to the third match right now, we're having Akira with the Highlander Priest. Oh, this is interesting. Akira is actually using a priest against Gilgamesh Druid. That's I think I got a wrong memo here. I'm so sorry. So Akira going with the Highlander Priest against Gilgamesh's Jade Druid. Now Jade Druid having a really good hand right now. This is going to be a nightmare for Akira if he doesn't do well about it. Having a Dragonfire Potion on hand is actually not to say really bad. However, he needs to survive until turn 6. But if Gilgamesh is able to pull off the ramp early on, Akira has no way of contesting this. So at turn 2, Akira decides to card draw, which is really important because you want to get the key cards as much as possible. Having the Death Priest is really important. Shadow Anduin is really important in this match. So Wild Growth for turn 2 for Jade Druid. Not a surprise here. Better than expected. So Galaka Claw coming out just so that he can actually contest the board, making sure that it doesn't come out. Like if a Jade Spirit was to come in, it's actually a 2-3-1-1. But like you can actually deal with the 2-3 and you can you actually healed up the Galaka Crawler. So he decided to go with the Maya Keeper, making sure that it's a 3-3, confirming that like the Galaka Crawler is not being able to get much heal from it, nor from the Northshire Cleric. So Priest of the Feast comes down. Now this is going to be so in a way that this is going to be really good for Gilgamesh right now because Aya Backpaw are able to come in. And wow, this is something right here. So looking at the hand right now, Akira has an option right here. Akira can actually kill out the Airback Paw, making sure the Priest of the Feast is able to contain himself with 6 health. Or does he decide to like try to go for it? Because right now having... Oh, he decides to keep the Shadowwood Death for future minions. Especially like Kun, like come on. Right there. This is going to be really, really tough. Jade Blossom coming in, Jade Spirit making a 4-4 right now. So does he want to like continue on in this matchup, because he's trying to get as fast as possible, getting his combo cards so that he can actually deal, because Gilgamesh, whenever he gets a big Jade, right, he can actually use the other skills to actually get up to a certain level, where Machine Gun Priest is unable to attack using its combo. So right now facing an issue where he has a 4-4, 3-3 and a 2-3 Jade Spirit on board. He decides to go with the Jade. He decides to go with the Dragonfire Potion, killing off. That's actually a really, really interesting play right there. So Kun coming down, having all his health and also having all his mana, creating a big minion. So wow, this is actually really, really interesting. But on the other hand, Akira now has the... Okay, so Akira right now has the removal to actually kill this. He could actually just Arcanite Soul Priest, circle the healing, heal the... oh yeah, he doesn't have enough mana though. So he can actually kill off. He still can kill off all of it. But probably Kun will be on board, because he can't actually kill off everyone.
Must consider.
So the only thing he could, but he needs to deal with this board. This board is actually too big for him. And especially right now, Gilgamesh is going to have some difficulty later on if he so coming right now with the Shadow Visions, trying to find an answer for this. He decided to go with the Tar Creeper, Shadowwood Death, the Kun, and heal himself back to full health. Oh no! Oh, he doesn't have a mana. I'm sorry. So he decides to go a little bit greedy. He decided to like let it go on board, making sure that he gets a lot of this minions on board, so he can actually deal that much damage, or actually have Shadow Endwin on board. So that's actually that's 18 damage, 20 damage up to the face. So this looks really, really bad for Akira right now. He doesn't have much. So this is actually like he needs to board clear this round. He can't face much a big board for this, so he's definitely gonna Potion of Madness the. Actually, Potion of Madness doesn't do anything. Potion of Madness. He has about 8 mana, so he can actually Arcanite Soul Priest, Circle of Healing. He needs to actually heal off one of the... he needs to heal damage to one of the minions.
Do you like to play with fire?
Okay. So using the Pyromancer, dealing as 1 damage to all minions. Holy Smite the face, Arcanite Soul Priest, and Circle of Healing actually deals the board, and maintaining this, maintaining the Arcanite Soul Priest on board. That's actually a really good strats from Akira right here.
A game? So kind of you to join me.
So Gilgamesh, on the other hand, counterattacks with the Medivh, Wraths to draw a card, getting a 2 mana minion. So now having a lethal on board, especially with the weapon right now, Akira is trying to fish out something from Kazakus right here. He needs to play a... He's going for the 10 mana spell because he has Shadow Word Death in his hand. So he's going to kill off the 7/7 with the Shadow Word Death. Oh, this is really, really difficult for him. So based on the hand right now, he's having, like, he's able to deal 6 damage, summon 3 friendly minions. I don't think he's really, really good, and give 6 minions health. He doesn't have much minions on board. I think he has to go with the Fel Bloom right here. Because right now, having the staff for Druid can actually go with another Ultimate Infestation if he has in hand, or something with really high mana to actually build a big minion on board. So he decides to go with the. So this is actually a really good choice from Akira, making sure that he knows how to deal with the situation. Try to defuse the situation before getting slaughtered by Jade Druid. So Jade Druid having a good card advantage in hand. Realizing right now, will he have to try to build more at a time like this? Because a 6 mana spreading play is really, really good. He's definitely going to go for it, or not. But that's the thing, would you rather have a 5 mana minion or a 6 mana minion? So let's see what he gets. Wow! That's actually really good. So he's going to go with the swipe right here to get a 4 mana minion as well. So a 6 mana minion, Scaring Cultist coming down. He can actually deal with it with the deal 6 damage. That's actually really, like, if he were to like continue on with the board, he could have like have the buff as well. But I'm not too sure why he doesn't have the buff. So now with a clean slate, Gilgamesh is trying to find some more card advantage, and of course I think he's gonna. He's definitely going to pull down another Jade Idol, the 7/7 Jade Idol. So does he want to create another Jade Idol, or does he want to fill up? I think if he wants to have more pressure, he's going with the Spellbreaker instead of a Jade Idol, just in case. So Lyra coming in probably just to get the extra advantage of having the Shadow Word Death. I think that's what you're trying to hope for, is the Shadow Word Death right now. So he's definitely going to silence the Spellbreaker, trying to get the card advantage. Does he get it? No, he got the other card instead. So this is actually really, really bad. RNG didn't go too well for him. So he was hoping for Shadow Word Death. So that is really, like, he could actually kill off, but what, even if he kills off, so he doesn't get much, like, he kills off something that's really, really important. So he decided to kill off, gaining an advantage, and come down with this Circle of Healing, which gives no advantage at all, and he's going to go down. Gilgamesh getting 1 win over Akira, now is 2-1. So yeah, really interesting play. Trying to fish out that Shadow Word Death, which is really, really important, because if he's able to, the Lyra will still play on board, and Gilgamesh needs to find a way to actually kill Lyra, or if he has enough potential. I think he has though, because because previously he does have a little bit more mana to actually heal himself to about 11. So having Ultimate Infestation to the face and also Spellbreaker deals 9 damage, so it doesn't able to kill off. But he was unable to fish for Shadow Word Death, and that will actually lead him to demise. So this is going to be a really interesting match. We're going to have a Priest mirror match, Priest Highlander mirror match. So it really depends on who gets the advantage of getting the Shadow Anduin on this. So looking at Akira's hand and also Gilgamesh's hand, Akira on the other hand is it has really good potential. It decided to go with having the Kazakus on hand, whereas this is going to be a long game, guys. This is going to be really tough because Gilgamesh on the other hand, he actually keeps the Shadow with Death, Shadow with Pain.
Mind if I roll knee?
Job's done.
So Akira coming out with Loot Hoarder, he's going to get a great advantage for this. And Gilgamesh counteracting with the Blood Mage Danos. So great play from Akira, making sure that he gets 2 card advantage over Gilgamesh. And this is actually really crucial for a mirror match. Mirror match, you want to get as fast as possible, get the combo quick, then your opponent, and also the Shadow Priest, Anduin as much as possible. So right now, having 4 mana, does he want to like go for the card draw? But I think like Kazakus is a really good option to actually get a 5 mana Kazakus potion, or actually keep a 1 mana Kazakus potion for his Shadow Anduin. But he decides to go with the 5 mana. Is a really good option right here. So deal 5 damage, summon 2 friendly minions or freeze 2 random enemies. Not a really good first pick, but on the second pick on the other hand gives a really good advantage. He decides to deal 5 damage and draw 2 cards. So drawing 2 cards is actually really important in this. Again, you need to get as fast as possible getting the Shadow Anduin. But without any contest for Gilgamesh, he decided to heal himself. Now he's like thinking whether to actually use one of his cards, because so he decided to skip this round. He's like, nope, not worth it. I think he have more potential using it for something else instead of dealing the Kazakus or Pyromancer. So Akira on the other hand is going to be a little bit odd for him. I think he can actually just go with the Novice Engineer, try to get extra card drawer. He can actually like try to get extra card drawer like Novice Engineer, Northshire Cleric, and then heal his Pyromancer. However, there is a possibility of a board clear for this. So he's thinking right now is like, do I go with the board presence right now of getting Priest of the Feast here, or do I gain more advantage by card drawing? Because he has one of the key cards right now. So he decides to go with the curve, Priest of the Feast. And look who it is! Just in time for a free heal every turn. So this is interesting right now. Akira has made a really good decision. He's gonna, like, why is it that he needs to trade off when he can actually use the Kazakus potion to actually do 5 damage and draw 2 cards? So looking at it right now, he was like, should I actually trade? Is trading a good option right here? Of course, if you use the Kazakus potion, he's gonna kill out the Pyromancer. That's why it's really important to actually know your order. So hitting using the Pyromancer when he's dead next turn. I mean this turn. So he can deal 6 damage. And decides to end turn. He didn't want to go for Cleric and also Circle of Healing, because this is actually really, really crucial. You don't want to draw too much cards. Especially if when you're having a Priest Mirror match, you're hoping that the opponent doesn't have Pyromancer, and if he does, if he can actually just Pyromancer, use one spell and also Circle of Healing, and you actually burn more of your cards. So right now, Lyra comes here. Yep, so having two important cards right here, this will actually allow Lyra to be more potent. And Akira right now having a really difficult situation. I think he can still deal with Lyra. So he's gonna like trying to get, because definitely for sure the Shadowwood Pain is definitely going to go on Lyra right here to ensure that there's no like value in terms of priest cards for Gilgamesh. So decides to trade off with the Kazakus over and decided to use the Secure Healing. So Gilgamesh on the other hand doesn't have much. So he has like no choice but to use Shadowwood Horror, making sure that Northshire Cleric doesn't draw much cards as much as possible. So decided to use Shadowwood Vision, Shadow Vision. So he starts to think like, I need to win this game. I need to like have better options in dealing this, because he has already 0 mana heal. So all he has to do now is to get Shadow Anduin to gain that machine gun effect.
I hope you like my invention.
So having 8 mana, looking at his options right now, he knows that he needs to get as fast as possible compared to Gilgamesh, because for quite some time Gilgamesh is not actually putting a lot of cards in it. And Gilgamesh hand is really, really awkward. He has a lot of potentiality right now, but he needs to know how to find some way to deal with it. And having the Radiant Elemental is really, really important. So Akira right now coming off with his own Raza. So it's a definite play right here. There's no way he'll miss a chance of playing Raza right here. The only issues right now is how to ensure that he can get his place into the finals, because he's up 2-1 right now. So he's going to use the Shadowwood Pain right here, or maybe not. Does he want to go with the Alkali Pain? Nope, he decided to go with Shadowwood Pain, because he knows that Lyra is already gone. He knows that Lyra is gone. He knows that a lot of his small minions are gone. I think he's looking out for Priest of the Feast, because Priest of the Feast for Gilgamesh is not out yet. So he's thinking like he should get the deal on the Priest of the Feast, making sure that Gilgamesh doesn't go over that count.
Embrace the void.
So right now he's actually going to use the Alkali Pain and also pinging his Alkali Pain, drawing a card. Let's see what he gets. He gets the most important card right now. This is really, really important right now. This is going to be very, very crucial. Gilgamesh needs to know how to deal with this, because he's down to 18 health right now. Gilgamesh using his own Potion of Madness right now, trying to get as much. Does he get it? Not quite. So what he can actually go for this? He's going with the White Mana Potion, trying to kill off the Soul Priest as fast as possible. Can he actually get? Not quite. He's browsing over the friendly minion. What exactly has he?
Mind if I roll need?
Can he get something out of it? And
Not quite what was planned.
and he's actually trolling. He's actually trolling.
The light has betrayed me.
Akira forgetting that he's actually dealing damage compared to healing because of his Arcanite Soul Priest. So now he's actually going it with full damage right now. I think this is lethal right here. That's another 2 damage. 3, 1, 4. That's 6 damage. That's 7 damage. Oh, not quite. Not quite.
Let the pain speak to me.
Okay, so he's trying to get something to gain, but unfortunately, like unable to gain answers because most of the rule moves are already been used since the start. And that's it. Akira gains 3-1 against Gilgamesh. So Gilgamesh, on the other hand, unable to avenge Lala Song in this matchup. So we are going to grand finals later on with Akira versus Pork My Pig. This is actually a great match of game 2 of the semifinals. Don't go away. We're going to go with the finals, the grand finals between Akira. We're going to take a break of 10 minutes. So it's going to be Pork My Pig versus Akira. Stay tuned. All right, welcome back to the grand finals of the WESG Malaysian qualifier. Give yourselves a round of applause for being here. And yeah, thanks a lot, Myron, for giving back the mic to me. And we are on our way to the grand finals of Pork My Pig versus Akira. And this is actually really interesting because both these players have played so well. Now at the grand finals, each of them have the opportunity to actually go to China as a Malaysian representative for this Hearthstone match. So good luck to them in all within this grand finals. So hopefully right now we are going to look at the amazing plays that they did previously with Pork My Pig being able to eliminate Exonator and also Akira eliminated Gigamesh, both also having 3-1. So we are going to, well, they're logging into their account at the moment. So looking at the lineup right now is actually really interesting that both of these players right here they have the potential of being the winner, the championship, and also getting a 200 ringgit for their expenses in order to, like fly to China and gain some good stuff at China. Or hopefully they're going to spend that 2,000 ringgit representing by buying a plane ticket. So that's how it is. I'm not too sure whether they are getting... So back to Hearthstone right now. They are going to go head-to-head on the finals. Akira versus Pork My Pig. From all the online matches and also the LAN matches. So this is a chance for them to actually prove them. Since previously Malaysia has gone through the global games, and being at the top 16 puts us at a map in terms of Hearthstone. So right now we have another chance in making sure that our Malaysian qualifier is being represented to ensure that this is not a joke. This is actually real thing. We are very competitive in Hearthstone. And as well as other esports as well, but mostly in Hearthstone. So they're going through a lot of emotions right now. It's like this is grand finals. Nervousness has been trembling over them, but they look as calm as a fiddle right now. Making sure that no misplays have been done, because this is actually crucial. One misplay can actually cost a match. So making sure that they do not made a mistake, or hopefully they pray to RNG Jesus. So looking at it right now, Pork My Pig is playing a more controlled deck, and also for Akira. So it really depends on who has the greater advantage early on, or who has the better offensive. So again, it depends on the first matchup. The first game, they need to know who they are actually picking. Hopefully the other opponent picks a class that they can counterattack and react to the next game as well, because this one, it takes only 3 classes. If they win 3 times, it's the best out of 5, they will actually eventually become champions. So looking at the last roster at the moment, hoping to make sure that everything's in order, confirming, and also probably rolling dice at the moment to see whether his RNG is well enough. So again, Pork My Pig is having a good lineup again, having the J Druid and also and also Akira. Akira, on the other hand, having a Murloc Paladin as well. It's really, really interesting to have a Murloc Paladin. Previously being a top 1 meta, and now actually, even though that has already been nerfed, but still people tend to play Murloc Paladin because it's still strong. Early game is actually really strong with the Valfian Inquisitor, with the Rock Pool. So this actually gives like a lot of advantage to Murlocs, especially even though with the War Leader nerf. So most likely they had to play a little bit differently. But then again, like Murloc Paladins are really a solid deck, especially with Sunkeeper Tarium, and also the Strike Reach Steed. And looking at the Tempo Rogue, it's kind of like a staple deck to actually bring along during your championship matchup, because Tempo Rogue is very consistent in terms of like mana cost, in terms of like mana curve. So the more you can actually like dish out a lot of these minions on board and also buff him with Callisive, is actually really important that the Callisives actually get Shadow Stepped to gain extra buff. Because there's no way, like it's very difficult to actually deal with all the buffs compared to having it on base stats. Because base stats they're less, however, because due to their great advantage in terms of like the card effect. However, most of it when it gets buff, it gets to a whole new level in terms of minion placing and also its advantages, its effects. So they are now calm, trying to figure out like what to do in a situation like in terms of getting a bad hand, or will any of the counteractive cards able to assist them in the matchup. So it really depends on the... So they are on their way to their first match, Akira versus Pokemon Pig in Grand Finals Game 1. We're going to go into the game real time soon. So we're going to see, like, what kind of... Are they going for a fast one to get a Game 1 win? Or are they going to go for a... Or go for a slightly slower tempo? Because the thing is, like, control decks are really difficult to actually play. However, if you know the technicality, then you know, like, how the process goes, you know how it is, it's going to be really effective for control. So in the first matchup right now, we're going to have Pork My Pig with the mage compared to Akira's Tempo Rogue. So if not mistaken, previous down, Pork My Pig is having the Elemental Mage of using the Jaina Frost Lich. So this actually gives much value in terms of health. So Akira, on the other hand, this has to be really important for him to actually like pressure on early game, so that he doesn't get like much. Pork My Pig doesn't get much value in terms of Frost Lich Jaina. So going on at turn 1, Pork My Pig just ends turn. While Akira, looking on the other hand, does he want to go with the... does he think that he wants to go... Apparently, there is some technical difficulties. We are back to the match. Pork My Pig with Akira. So at turn 2, Pork My Pig unable to do anything but use Primordial Glyph, trying to get as much advantage as possible and able to get a 0 mana Frostbolt out of it. So Akira, on the other hand, retaliates by using a dagger and also using the Firefly to actually deal one damage. So looking at the hand of Akira, Akira now has as much potential as it is, so decides to like try to go with the South Sea Captain, getting the patches out so that he can get better draws next time, and also having the 2/2 patches on board. Whereas right now, Pork My Pig is go like, I got the counter attack for this, frostbolting the South Sea Captain, and then Fire Blast the Firefly, making a 1/1 patches. So here's a bit interesting on both sides. Both sides are actually having but Akira having a very good advantage because he's having a lot of capabilities, especially with the top deck Shaku coming down on board. This will be great if the Pyramidal Glyph comes up with something's really good to counterattack with the Shaku stealth. But right now, looking at it, great draw on the other hand. But without the key card, this is actually not a good idea. So most likely he'll try to actually do a little bit of clearing the board and also using the Madiz Valet without the secret. So right now, Shaku has a free hit, and see what will actually come out from a Mage class card, because looking at it, Mage class has a lot of good cards. I wouldn't be surprised if he has like Cabba's Tome, Frostbolt, Fireball, Pyroblast. But having the Breath for Syndrosa is not a good card to have.
Not welcome here.
So he's gonna like use his face to trade off with the Madiz Valet, making sure that the 1/2 Firefly is still good. So this is actually a really tough board, having a 5/5 Scale Bane, 4/2 Firefly, and a 2/1 Shaku on the board. He can actually clear the board, and this is very, very essential, especially like when you know that Akira still has the coin, and the coin can do wondrous things for Rogue, can actually combo and also bring out some good stuff. So he's thinking like, should I deal with this board right now, or should I just like wait it out?
I wonder.
Because he has like he's in a good position if he knows how to use the relevant cards in his hand.
Time runs out on me.
So instead, he's actually using a Skulking Vice to clear off all the 1-mana spells, and also using a 0-mana Frostbolt so that the Scale Bane is unable to attack. So right now, using the Sulking Guys, Rogue has really poor options right now. But not to worry, I think it's not much of an effect, especially with the Cold Blood being eliminated from the game. Because you want to deal a lot of damage with the Cold Blood, but instead, right now, this is the only chance where Akira right now can try to build as much board as possible, make it as more effectively in terms of damage. So Akira slowly like tinkering like what I should do. Should I like try some stuff? But decided to go with the Bone Mare on Shaku, gaining 1 card, and look who it is. So Pork My Pig right now has to deal with this, decides to polymorph the Bone Mare and also Volcanic Potion, killing everyone on board. So this is a free situation for Akira. Like Akira right now can actually like try to build a board again. But it's quite crucial because you already built a board previously and then you got your board wiped. So right now you're trying to do as much as possible to actually gain back the board, making sure that they are more effective against Pork My Pig, because once Pork My Pig comes down with a lot of good potential spells and also like what do you call it, like burns, it's actually really difficult. So Pyro is coming down as a 2/2. Not really much of a big threat, but Death Rattle comes out a 6/6 later on and also a 10/10 after it dies. Will be a little bit difficult. So Pork My Pig, on the other hand, having a hand like this, it's a little bit.
Game. So kind of you to join me.
So he decides to use the Medivh, kill off the 1/1, making sure that less targets for Bone Mare to actually counter attack. So in this case, like having what cards he has a way of dealing this. So I think Akira is actually really having a good position right now. Because definitely Medivh is going to go. And Pork My Pig is going to have a really difficult situation in handling this because he doesn't have much. Yep, Vine Spine Sayer gonna kill off Medivh right here, Shadow Stepping it so that he can gain a more efficient kill next time with a 3 mana cost. So here's what's interesting, like Frost Lich Jaina is just being picked up. And you must deal a little bit more before you can actually pull that off. But he decides to go with it because he needs that health as much as possible.
Hear those who wield it.
And hoping that he's actually trying to trigger the Vine Spin Slayer to come out. But then looking at this point, so he definitely needs to kill off the Water Elemental because like it gives more health whenever he attacks. But the crucial thing is, will he want to? That's one thing. He can still keep pressuring the board, but the heal effect is so great that he doesn't want to risk it. So he's going with the Edwin Van Cleave with a 6/6 right now. So not looking too good for Pork My Pig. He can still stall, that's the thing. And he's going to stall. He's definitely going to ping to make sure that he gets a Water Elemental. And Arcane Analogist is coming out just so that he can get an Ice Block over there. No surprise over there. This is... oh... That's something interesting right now. So Pyros on the other hand dies and he gets a 6/6 Pyros on hand. So trying to make sure like what now, because he's having like a 6 attack on board, a 3 attack on board and a 2 attack. And with the 3 attack able to heal him to another 3 every round if he's alive. So Akira right now having a difficult situation of trying to do as much as possible, decides to kill off the Arcanologist to ensure that Arcanologist doesn't stay alive to kill off any of the minions. So here's the thing, like in this situation, you're pretty much fear of what's coming out. Because the thing is, there's still a Shadow Step available.
Excuse me, you are on fire.
So he decides to kill off the Van Cleef with the help of the Marise Valet. Most likely it's going to... Nope, decided to let Pyros live for some reason. Yep. Doesn't feel like Water Elemental needs to die over, freeze over Pyros. So right now having two Water Elementals on board, this gives him more potential in terms of healing. But here's the thing, like Akira on the other hand has a choice of going face, trying to like proc the ice block as fast as possible. Oh, does he want to clear? Because no point of him clearing the board. If he needs to go for a win right now, that might be an option, especially when you have a taunt. And he's thinking about it. He's thinking of like procting the ice block, which I think will be a very valuable play. Decided to Shadow Step the South Sea. So that's really important for just now having the ice block on board to ensure that Frost Lich Jaina actually stays alive. And going out with the taunts. Yep. However, this won't be enough because here comes Alexstrasza coming in, gaining 15 health. What are you waiting for? Yep, Alexstrasza coming down, gaining 15 health right now, and with the 3 health gain from the Water Elemental, makes it 21 health against a 5-man on board with 2 taunts on hand. This is actually getting ridiculous. Akira not able to do anything with the Alexstrasza because of the Pyros getting freeze, so has decided to like hope Lich King can actually provide something good, something able to clear off the board. And is he looking for a Doom Pack? Wow! That is something right there. I didn't expect that. I seriously didn't expect that. So yeah, this is gonna... now, the thing is, it's still gonna be more advantageous for Poke My Pig, because Poke My Pig right now has a lot of potential in terms of like gaining health, in terms of able for survivability because of extra secrets, and of course able to card draw. So making sure that and there it is, the Motherlode coming in. And this is I think it's game right there. It's game. With the counter spell on hand, the Doom Pack is like wasted. And that's it for turn 1. Poke My Pig wins first round against Akira. I mean, there were a lot of good plays in this matchup, and especially like it was really depend on Akira on whether he gets that Doom Pack or not, and he did. It's just that it was countered by the counter spell, so it's really difficult for him to actually come back from that, especially with Frost Lich Jaina coming out and having the Water Elemental keep sustaining her health. that's where it goes downslope for Akira. So Pork My Pig gets first game over Akira, and we're going to game 2 soon. So right now they're actually like trying to think of like what other decks is actually good, especially when Mage right now is being used by Pork My Pig. So Pork My Pig just needs 2 wins to actually be the champion of WESG.
Watch your...
So Akira coming down with the same deck against Pork My Pig's Warlock. So this Warlock is actually a... So decides to actually like mulligan all his hand, trying to gain as because when you're talking about Tempo Rogue, you want to get as much as possible to do that much as well. And looking at it, Pork My Pig might be using having a Skulking Guy, so this is more like a... So this time he's going to life tap, trying to gain as much card advantage as possible against Akira's Tempo Rogue. But looking at Akira's hand right now, he has more potential to deal a lot of tempo against the Warlock. So no-brainers. This one is definitely a Tar Creeper on turn 3, and so the thing is that he's unable to deal with the Tar Creeper at the moment. So what he can actually do is, since he actually like top deck Prince Caliciff, he's going to play Prince Caliciff to actually buff the other minions. And hopefully there is some way to actually maintain Caliciff alive so that he can actually Shadow Step. But Pork My Pig is probably thinking right now, please don't Shadow Step, please don't Shadow Step. I have no way of dealing this. So yeah, coming down with the Subsea deckhand, going to kill with the Dark Reaper. So backstab, sacrifice his Subsea Pirate, hit face, and also the Patches having 2 damage on his face. So definitely with 3 minion on board, he decides to like Drain Soul the Caliciff, making sure that it doesn't Shadow Step. And putting down the Mistress of Fixtures to gain that health back. So Akira on the other hand is going for the Firefly Flame Elemental and with the daggering up to ensure that the patches actually stay on board and also gaining that for health.
Unleash me. Job's done.
So interestingly, the Dreadlord actually comes down, making sure that, you know, I do not want to get hit in my face anymore. So I let you deal with the Dreadlord because I can summon him with the Death Warlock later. So Swashbuckler comes down, let's see what he gets. And decides to go with the Vine Spin Spear to actually kill off the Dreadlord. Very interesting round right here. This is actually very difficult for Pork My Pig because he has some ways to actually deal with this, but then if he doesn't deal it right, it's going to be really, really hard for him, especially like in later rounds. So whether to actually like try to build more board or actually try to deal off with the minions is actually really important. Like which actually like prioritize more. Looking at it, Skull King guys can actually help him in terms of board presence.
So many
However, the but he decides to go with the Siphon Soul, killing off the Vice Slayer, making sure that next round he's able to like able to clear the board later with something else. So Akira right now thinking, what could it be? Why did he actually use Siphon Soul instead of? Because there's something fishy over there. Like, does he want to risk it? Like, getting more tempo?
The Brotherhood.
So Van Cleef will be coming down as a 5/5. And here's going to be a huge upset. With a clear ball, but with the 5/5 Van Cleef, he can actually just deal, he can just kill off with the Abysmal. So Akira on the other hand thinking, and he's making sure that nope, that 6/6 must die. So next round, right now, he's thinking whether he wants to go with a one-hit damage to the face. Yes, he does. He thinks about it. And so looking at this situation right now, he's having a little bit difficult time because he's at a range where he can get slaughtered. Like 11 health is not a good option for Warlock, especially when you have a hero power that life stabs. You want to gain as much as possible. So he's thinking about how do I actually gain health that stops Akira from actually bursting down in the next round. Because let's face it, if Akira has enough burst damage, there goes a match. Like it's going to be tied 1-1. So the thing is, the card that he has right now has potential in actually like like changing the tide.
So many possibilities.
So he decides to go with the Downloss Drain Soul and Defile combo, gain the card.
Only a fool rejects the Lich King.
So right now Akira going down with the Kain Bloodhoof because he doesn't have the much burst potential ability to deal with the 14 health Warlock. So he decides to go with the Kain Bloodhoof, making sure that the Death Rattle is actually really, really important. And especially like a 5/6 Kain right now. So Akira gonna pop that Divine Shield right here. Yep, so Stonehill Defender coming in. Not a great option. So nope, still not enough. He's still able to survive though. Akira is actually losing some steam. He does need that special card, that 7-mana card, that overpowering, bone-busting bone mare to actually try to taunt up the Kain Bloodhoof.
So many options.
So in the meantime, he doesn't have much. He's having like some difficulties actually bursting down.
The Pirate's Code.
So Stonehill Defender would definitely go down here. Now the thing is whether he still want to use extra cards right now to actually like build up the board so that he can ensure like a lethal next turn.
too soon.
I think he's gonna leave it on board. I think he's gonna leave it and just gonna like dagger up. Because that 4/4 SI agent is actually really good. But he decides to wait out this thing, and because the combo potentiality of the SI agent for dealing extra 2 damage is actually really important. Instead of like deal 2 damage now and then ensure that the 4/4 is on board. So Galactic Crawler gonna kill off the South Sea Captain, and the Tar Lurker coming in for the defend. So he's definitely gonna survive another round at least. This is actually really difficult for Akira. So he's thinking right now, like, how do I deal with this? So he's gonna use the SI agent to kill. Is that enough? No, he is still like, he's one off. He's 1 man off on gaining lethal. He can steal lethal next round. Will he able to survive there? He's 1 man off. That's the thing. He's 1 man off. He's killing off one of the minions, making sure that the Bloodproof doesn't do much. And here come it is. No choice but to use the Blood Reaver Golden, claiming 5 armor. So yes, with the Dreadlord over here, you're able to clear board, and now this is going to be really bad for Akira. Akira had no potential right now, especially he needs something right now. And he say he's going for the kill right now. He's going with the Leroy Jenkins 6 attack next round. One off, just 1 health off.
Only a fool rejects the Lich King.
That's 3, that's 9, that's 10. Can Swashbuckler actually give him anything? Blood Imp is not gonna good. Blood Imp is not gonna do well. He gets another chance. Does he get it? Can he board clear with defile? I don't think so. There's no 4 health. He can actually try Leroy defile to ensure that, you know, everything kills. But I think without the 4 health minion, it's really difficult. So he's definitely going to go with the Leroy clear with the defile. Is he able to? 1 damage. Is he? Nope, that's it. Game 2, Pork My Pig goes 2-0 against Akira. That defile was actually a game-changing moment. However, there's no 4 health minion to actually like maintain the defile damage. So in the end, Akira has to concede, going down 0-2 against Pork My Pig on this round. So that's actually a really interesting matchup. A bit salty on Akira because he didn't get the Bone Mare in time. He was able to get a Bone Mare in the initial mulligan stage. However, he mulliganed away, making sure that he gets much tempo potential, and card draw didn't allow him to get that Bone Mare card during his top deck events. So we're going to the game 3 right now, and this is going to be a Dragon Priest against the Tempo Rogue. Akira's not giving up with Tempo Rogue. She knows that